Let's protect your hard-earned money. Inflation's just warming up, but by late spring, it could get downright hot, even if temporarily. The debate in the market is whether the spike is transitory, as the Fed and many economists say, or the start of a bigger trend. In fact, there are those who say investors may want to hold on even tighter. Mark Zandi from Moody's Analytics believes Wall Street is significantly underestimating the seriousness of an inflation comeback, saying inflationary pressures will develop very quickly. And he says, I don't think there's any shelter here. Joining me on the morning show, financial analyst Chris Markowski, also the founder of Markowski Investments. So is inflation dead ahead? Any shelter out there?
I think we've been living through inflation for a long period of time. They keep telling us that it's coming, but how many of your viewers out there go out to a restaurant and take, look at their check at the end of the day and say, what did I just spend? Or take a look at their credit card bill and say, what did I spend on groceries this past month? Everything is going up in price. This has been happening for a while. So this idea that inflation is coming, I think is patently absurd. I think it's here and now.
Look at the price of the pump. I mean, it's up exponentially. The pandemic is winding down. There's fiscal support coming in. Growth is expected to be strong. Does that mean jobs, falling unemployment, and wage hikes?
Well, I would love to see the unemployment numbers come down. We're still looking around 10 to 12 million people that need to get back to work. There's going to be a different dynamic, without a doubt. Many of the urban areas in this country, I don't think are going to make that comeback. But other areas of the country, in particular, states like Florida have done very, very well, with more and more people looking to move to those states. No income tax, state income tax whatsoever, not to mention great weather and a great cost of living. So there's going to be changes moving forward, without a doubt. Let's hope that they can happen sooner rather than later, than get more people back to work.
Let's talk stimulus. People say it's great policy, bad financial policy. Critics say the government just can't keep printing money and giving it away without coming back to haunt everyone. It's clear there's a lot of pent-up demand. Is the economy about to overheat?
I don't think we're going to overheat. I never really understood that. I don't like the metaphors comparing the economy to engines. It's not the same thing by any stretch of the imagination. There is concern, like we were talking about, in regards to inflation. Just too much money floating around out there and going to very odd places. We see it now with various different made-up currencies. We see it with assets being crafted out of video highlights from athletes. So yeah, you're going to see some froth, so to speak, if you want to call it that, in various different areas. But the concept of overheating, I never bought into that. I want to see the economy grow, and I want to see it to grow as quickly as possible.
How about market swings? We in for a roller coaster ride? And if so, 2, 3 years or 5 years?
Oh, I think that, if you're involved in the markets, you better expect a roller coaster ride. I mean, you go to Universal Studios, there's going to be rides there, and you're going to see that they have ups and downs, and that's just part of the market. Over the long run, though, you're going to be fine as long as you own high quality, fundamentally sound companies. Trying to guess what's going to happen over the short term is always an exercise in futility.
How about moves by the Fed when it comes to rates? What do you expect, and what impact will it have on inflation?
They can't do anything, quite frankly. The reality is most of our debt is financed in short-term instruments. And if rates were to go up, you're looking at our budget even being in a worse situation. The Fed is already purchasing $120 billion of our debt every single month. They're doing everything and anything to keep interest rates down.
So as an investor, what do you suggest? Hold tight, look to the long term?
You always should be looking towards the long term, and you should always be looking for value out there. It's gotten more difficult for investors over the past few decades because there isn't really any safe, risk-free assets out there that pay any sort of yield. And this is why pensions have had a very difficult time. So you do have to look for some high-quality things out there and understand that compounding is the royal road to riches.
And if people want to check out your podcast, Chris, how can they do that?
Sure. Thank you. WatchdogonWallStreet.com is our website. We've got all sorts of great stuff there.
There you go. And also it's St. Patrick's Day, so rub your lucky charm because maybe it'll bring in some money. Good talking to you, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jennifer.